A video is going viral on the internet featuring a woman confronting a man who's paying at the register at a local Walmart using food stamps. Now, both parties are with their children, and once you watch this exchange, you'll kind of understand why people are up in arms about it. Take a look.
The government is. They take it out of my check. Bullshit, they don't.
Okay. Then contact your local senators and congressmen and issue a complaint. Vote Republican. I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you.
Oh, trust me, I am not a bleeding heart fucking liberal. That ain't ever gonna happen.
I don't care about you, lady. Just shut the fuck up.
I don't have to. It's a free country, remember?
I remember. It is
If I gotta pay for all this shit, the least I can do is talk.
Isn't it? You're right.
It is for people like
thank
you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Hillary and Bernie supporters.
Thank you. Yeah, you don't know me. You don't know me.
That's what you just said, vote Republican.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
I do
you have
know
to deal with him.
You're on welfare.
I told you.
Exactly what you vote for. They give it to you so that you vote that way. I'm not stupid. I have a degree. I'm pretty damn smart.
You keep saying that over and over. Someone's supposed to be proud of you or something. But
You know what? I put myself in.
here you are.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
Posting and loading of how great you are. And look around. Do you see anybody getting a fuck? No, they don't. Why don't you mind your own fucking business?
You're tired of paying for it.
Okay,
Sure.
all right.
Ricky.
Well, until you vote Republican and get them out of there, deal with it, bitch. Sorry.
Yeah. That's about the worst you can do. Not afraid of you.
I don't make the rules, lady.
You don't have to.
No, I don't. You're right.
You can just take advantage of them like everybody else.
Well, why wouldn't I? Yeah, why wouldn't I?
Oh, good.
So it appears that the woman was upset that he was paying for the food at Walmart using food stamps. Little does she know that she is purchasing products from a company where a lot of their employees have to rely on governmental assistance because Walmart doesn't pay its employees enough, does not allow them to unionize. In fact, a 2014 report found that Walmart costs U.S. taxpayers a whopping $6.2 billion per year in food stamps, Medicaid, subsidized housing, and other forms of public assistance for its employees. These are not people who are, of course, stereotyped as lazy individuals who just want to sit back and receive government benefits. These are people who are working, who want to be able to work and provide for their families, but are unable to do so because this massive, profitable, lucrative corporation refuses to pay them a decent living wage. A 2013 report found that nearly $1 out of every $5 in food stamp money is actually spent at Walmart, okay? So this story frustrates me for so many different reasons. And before we get into even more details and talk about all the different, issues involved in this video, I just want to state that there's a small possibility that this could have been staged. We don't know all the details about the video, so I want to give you guys that caveat. But nonetheless, this is an issue that pops up throughout the country. There have been other instances of people being harassed at grocery stores when they're using their SNAP benefits to pay for groceries for their kids and for their family. And so it goes on and on. The stereotypes are perpetuated, and it drives me insane.
And there was like a fake viral story, I think a couple months back, where a comedian went out to, again, surprise, Walmart, and staged this fake interaction that he had with a family that had purchased things with a food stamp, but then also bought lottery tickets, I think, with cash. And then he stole their steak and he ran out. It's like, my steak. It's like, no, you stole that. Like, that's not your steak.
But that was a fake video.
But that was fake, is what I'm
Right.
saying. Like, and I understand why you give that caveat. I get it. But it's just one of the first of all, I don't think this is fake because no one is that good at acting. Like, that was some Idris Elba shit right there. Like, I believe that lady was furious at this person, and I believe that person did everything in their power not to crack the lady across the head, which is, wow, that takes a tremendous amount of self-control, because even when I was watching it, and I'm not on food stamps, I was so lit up, and his child was there. It was just it made me so angry. And it's because Republicans have this mindset against poor people where it's just like, and even poor people, that lady's still shopping at Walmart, she might be poor herself, is they hate poor people. Like, I don't understand why it's engraved in our mentality.
Because they've bought into the mass media propaganda that leads to this Hunger Games mentality that we have in the middle class and the working class, where we're focused on fighting the poor. We punch down instead of focusing on the system that's actually keeping us down. I've made this point on the show so many times, I feel like you guys are just nauseous from hearing me say it over and over again, but it's true, it's true. I'm gonna give you the breakdown of where your taxes go. For anyone who's watching that video and who thinks, yeah, man, I'm tired of paying for all these lazy Americans. No, a tiny amount of your taxes go toward helping the poor. But you know, a huge amount of money is saved by these super lucrative, successful corporations because they get subsidized, because they get these tax breaks, because of corporate tax loopholes. That's what's destroying this country right now when it comes to our economics. But no, you'd rather focus on these poor kids who don't have enough money to be fed. I mean, I don't know. I'm going to get into that in a second, but go ahead, Francis.
I mean, for me, it's so representative, right, of how divided and the rhetoric that we consistently see, specifically through this election, right? Because what is certain candidates giving as a reason for their candidacy is the ability to scapegoat. It's just scapegoating, that's it. It's giving people who have an excuse, who maybe have come across one or two examples that don't lead the best example when it comes to someone who is poor or someone who they'll deem as lazy, and it gives them the motive to go and think that everyone in that category is the exact same. Oh, you're on food stamps? You must be lazy. You're not working.
Yeah.
You're not working 40 to 60 hours, what the gentleman said himself. And I'm going to set aside for the fact that it went on whilst there was toddlers sitting there and she continued to repeat, oh, I'm smart. Well, you're not very fucking smart if you keep saying this in front of a kid who's sitting there and causing that sort of scene. But trust me, this is going to happen more often than you realize because we have candidates, one in particular, who's given a voice to these people that want to scapegoat.
Yes.
That's why, is to continue to push forward this message that if your circumstance is you're facing adversity, it's someone else's fault.
Yeah.
And it's maybe that person you're looking at right there without even knowing their situation. Without even knowing what that person's going through, they just assume that they're falling into this stereotype. And you hit the nail on the head. Like, they'll make the assumption and they'll make the snap judgment. Go and look into the research. See the amount of money that's spent on military spending.
Yes.
Because you're continuing to give...
$609 billion was spent on military spending
I don't
in
like
the
to
year
always
2015.
give Hasan the credit because we go back and forth, but watch his Facebook video on the jets and the trillions of dollars that are fed into our mind where we say, you know what, we're under attack here. We need to protect ourselves. So continue, we'll just make these excuses.
A jet that barely flies, mind you. That's a controversial F-35 program you're mentioning. But it's a really good example of where our spending priorities are. And it's a really good example of how people don't really want to talk about that sort of stuff and instead focus on, or instead they want to focus on why the fucking poor person is poor because he's lazy and that's his fault. And it just infuriates me, especially because I personally know a lot of Republican friends of mine that take advantage of affordable care, for example, that are on Obamacare, as they like to call it, yet are still so critical of all of our welfare policies, yet, you know, they might be teachers, or they might take advantage of the police force or the fire department.
No, that's a part of it that drives me crazy, right?
Yeah.
The people who criticize Bernie Sanders because they're like, oh my God, he's a democratic socialist. They don't even call him a democratic socialist. They just call him a communist or a socialist, whatever, and they, of course, defame him in any way that they can while they're collecting their Social Security benefits, while they're on Medicaid, while they take advantage of all of these beautiful roads and bridges that we have, our infrastructure that's paid by our tax money,
well, in California,
right? These are social programs. If you don't like the social programs, then why don't you take a stand, right? If anyone in your family is collecting Social Security after they've retired, why don't you wag your finger at them? You probably won't, because you probably enjoy those benefits, right? You realize why we have that in place, so we don't have elderly people on the streets, which, by the way, we have an increasing number of elderly people on the streets because of what we've been doing with our economy. So let's talk about our taxes a little bit, because I'm so tired of people complaining about how their earnings are going toward the poor. Look at all these lazy people that all my hard-earned money is going toward. First of all, don't flatter yourself, okay? You're not saving the world by paying for the poor, okay? A tiny fraction of your taxes actually goes to these programs. So for instance, if you want to break it down in terms of Social Security, for instance, 24% of the budget, the federal budget, went toward Social Security last year. This is 2015, okay? Social Security pretty important program. Again, we don't want elderly people on the streets. A lot of people don't have a privatized form of retirement.
Which they've paid for, by the way.
Which they've paid for, exactly. Another thing to keep in mind, okay, people talk about privatizing Social Security, privatizing retirement.
Oh, God.
Okay, I know exactly what that's like, okay? I contribute the maximum amount to my Chase IRA account every year. You want to know how much it grows? Dick. Okay, to know that that's what I would have to rely on if we did away with Social Security scares the hell out of me. All right, so that's one part of it. When it comes to Medicare, Medicaid, marketplace subsidies, we spend another 25% on that. When it comes to defense, that's where another massive chunk of our tax money goes toward. Okay, so another 16% of the budget, $602 billion, paid for defense and security-related international activities. Less than 10% of your federal income taxes goes toward programs that helps the needy, okay? You want to break it down with dollar amounts? Average taxpayer spent $12,978 last year on taxes. That's the average taxpayer. Some people pay more, some people pay less. You guys know that. About $3,723 went to Medicaid and children's health insurance programs. That's a huge percentage of what you paid, right? $3,294 went toward the military. A whopping $461 went toward public education, okay? So please stop whining about how all your money is going to failed public schools or how all your money is going toward helping these lazy individuals. First of all, you're stereotyping them. You don't know their situation. A huge chunk of these welfare recipients are working and they're just not making a living wage because we don't offer them a living wage. But then you also have to keep in mind that there is this huge problem in this country where we're putting our resources toward war instead of helping our own people, okay? We're giving subsidies and tax breaks to the wealthy and basically focusing on regressive taxes that are aimed at the middle class and the working class. That's what this country is dealing with right now. So instead of being an idiot who just consumes mainstream media news and buys into these ridiculous stereotypes, do your own research. Try to figure out where your money's going. Follow that paper trail. You care about that income, right? So do the fucking research and stop complaining about poor people.